Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
With Rob Flynn.
What up, podcast party people. I gotta move this down over here. There we go. That looks much better. The microphone was too high. It's blocking my view, man. This is a holiday edition of No Fucking Regrets podcast. We're taking a break. You know, can't do interviews all through this time, so we're doing best of, a little best of the year, a little year-end wrap-up, a 2021 wrap-up, which completes my second full year of doing the podcast. In fact, I think January 2nd was actually my very first day. 2020. In fact, I think I launched it technically at October, but I don't think I had any episodes up until I think January was first year, January 2nd. So coming up on the 2-year anniversary, bro. The 2-year anniversary of fucking goddamn No Fucking Regrets. How about that? Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. So yeah, as we get into the holidays, I was like, yeah, I got a couple of lined up. I got some interviews for next year, but I was like, you know what? People are listening to the holidays. You're like fucking shopping. I'm like, motherfuckers ain't going to be listening to a podcast. You're not. You're just not. Maybe you are, but I know last year the ratings were. I think I podcasted all through the holidays and nobody fucking listened. So I was very annoyed. So, yeah, we'll just do a best of this one. I'll do a little intro. I'll do kind of like an introduction to each thing, and then I'll do the intro. And I'll tell you, the intro this week is going to be about the GENEVRA 30th and the METALLICA 40th. So, first things first, the wife and I, GENEVRA, a.k.a. Sugar Pie, we celebrated our 30th anniversary of our first kiss, which is a day that we used to celebrate, not of our marriage, but of our first kiss. And we celebrated it for a long time because I took a long time to ask her to marry me. So 8 years before I asked her to marry me, we dated. And, some people think that's a long time. I felt it was the right amount of time. But, it was, because of that, we celebrated that day. That was our anniversary, December 21st. And it was the day that wasn't the day that we first met. I actually met her a couple of weeks before that. And I met her at a bar. She was dating somebody I knew. And I walked into the bar and they were sitting there right on the corner, a bar called the Forum in El Cerrito. And sitting literally like right as I walked in the door, and I was just like, "Oh, hey," I said, "What's up?" to the person I knew, and then I looked over and saw this unbelievably smoking hot chick, and I was like, "Damn!" Huge eyes, just this brightest smile I'd ever seen. I remember her just being so stunningly beautiful, and then I was there to just drink and pick up on girls. Like I was there to hang out with my friends. I was trying to, I was solo. I was a bachelor. I was kind of doing my thing, so this was kind of like a place where I kicked it and we talk to girls and go on dates and meet girls. And I just remember she was playing pool. One of my fondest memories, she was playing pool, and little did anybody know, but GENEVRA grew up in a bar, basically. Like her mom worked as a bartender, used to literally just be at the bar all the time. And so she felt like darts, pool, fucking, and like she crushes that shit. Like fucking, she kills motherfuckers. Fucking emasculate a man in a second on the pool table. Fucking, I call her a shark. She got 5 sets of teeth coming out, and she's so hot. You're just like, oh, I'll play the hot chick. You know, probably thinking you're gonna kick her ass and like, oh, I'll go easy on the hot chick. Like, no, she's gonna fucking destroy you. And so she's playing pool and literally just fucking killing dudes. Like dudes are like walking away like mad. Like, what the fuck? Like, and she's on the, so she's running the pool table for a while. And every time she denies this, but look, she's wrong. She's just not remembering it correctly. Every time she goes down, and you're not going to be able to see this unless you're watching this on YouTube, but every time she goes down, gets ready to take a shot, she go like this, and she gets ready, and then she looked up at me. She goes, and kind of gave me a little smile, like, huh? Like a little coy smile. And I was like, I like look over to my left, I look over to my right. I'm like, is she smiling? She's smiling to me, and I was like, no, she's not. Maybe she's smiling at the bartender. She's smiling at somebody else. And then I'm watching her. Now I'm at the other end of the bar, and she goes to take a shot, and she looks up at me, and she kind of gives me like a little coy smile. I'm like, what? I look to my left again. I'm like, no. I'm like, she's fucking smiling at me. She's fucking smiling at me. So I give her a smile back. I'm like, I give her a coy smile. Hello, how are you? Because you're smoking hot, and why wouldn't I smile back at you? And then she does this a couple more times, and then she denies it She denies it now. But listen to me. She was fucking giving me coy smiles all night, like 6 of them. 6 of them. And I was just like, and then my friend got in a fight, and like he always did. Like, so my friend would try and pick up on a girl, and if he couldn't get any girls, his default mode was, okay, I'm going to get in a fight. So my friend gets in a fight, and my friend at the time, I mean, not even at the time, my friend is like, he's the best fighter I've ever known in my life. Like, this dude's brain was wired to street fight people. Like, I'm not even fucking joking. Like, he just fucking hell. He always won. And he wasn't like, he was actually shorter than me, but like stockier and more muscular than me. But fucking hell, this dude just, anyway, he goes down, he starts getting in a fight with this dude. And this dude's girlfriend, just kind of out of nowhere, she was wearing stiletto heels with those really super high heels. She takes off her fucking heel, and she takes it, and she fucking just jams the heel of her shoe right through my friend's eyebrow. I mean, just it like comes out the bottom, like through the top, comes out the bottom, and then she rips it open, and just blood ends the fight, because everybody's like, holy shit, you know. And so we end up going, like, he's like, I don't want to go to the hospital. Like, this dude was a badass. Like, he was just a total fucking badass, insane, like psycho. And so he goes back to my house, and he just sits there, and he's like, get me a needle and thread. And I'm like, okay. He gets a needle and thread, and he just sits there looking in the mirror, fucking sewing his eyebrow, like sticking the needle in and pulling. I was just like, this dude's fucking crazy. And he sewed his eye shot back up like that. And I was like, I'd never do that. I'd go to the hospital. But, you know, he was out of his mind. Anyway, so, you know, that was the first time we met. And then and then about 2 weeks later, we ended up going to, I rehearsed at a place called Paradigm Studios in East Oakland, which was pretty gnarly for a girl to even be going there. But we had a mutual friend whose band was playing like a Christmas party. And so we then went to there, or she went separately. I went with a bunch of friends. I got a ride there with somebody, and she rolled up in her motorcycle. That's right. Genevra drove a motorcycle, white. She comes in. She got a bright red Honda Hawk 700, like a fucking pretty fast motorcycle. You know, she's got her white leather jacket, and she's got these ripped up blue jeans tucked into these square-toed black motorcycle boots, and fucking lion's mane of red hair with a blonde streak. Oh my God, she was fucking just like, she was just a vision. I can't even explain, like breathtaking. And I was like, oh my God, that's that chick from the other night that was giving me the coy smiles while she was playing pool. And I didn't want to go talk to her because she was dating a friend of mine, and I was just like, I'm not. So my friend, the crazy guy, the crazy fighter guy, goes up and talks to her, and like, blah, blah, blah. So like, I just kind of moseyed over there, like, oh hey, and anyway, I'm not going to tell the whole story because I wrote about it in an Instagram post. So if you follow me on Instagram, I put a post about it. Kind of, it wasn't really like a poem, but it was like a love letter to Ginevra, and yeah, it was just a love letter to her. And after 30 years, and I'm a bit of an artiste. So I actually took the thing that I wrote on Instagram and I put it on. I went to this really cool paper store called the Paper Source in Walnut Creek. And it's just like a really fancy paper store. And I'm an artist. I'm a bit of a romantic. So I found this really rad paper. I love old paper. Like I love anything that looks like a scroll from Noah's Ark or the biblical times, or that yellowy kind of yellow and white brownish kind of it's all got raw edges. This paper store had this raw edge paper, which I've always thought looks cool, and I've used it a couple of times. I print things on it, like I'll print like a letter to somebody, but it just looks really cool. Anyway, they had this paper there, dude. It was like Dead Sea Scroll, yellow, white, that raw edge. But then it had these little purple flowers inside of it. Dude, it was sick. It was so cool. And so I did that, and I wrote my thing in on my Mac, like in Pages, which is like Word file. And then I printed it, and then I had to kind of tear it to make it be. It was a big giant. It was like a scroll-sized piece of paper, so I had to actually cut it. I had to tear it to make it be 8.5 by 11 to fit inside of a printer. So then I took a ruler. I took my son's ruler, and I just took it and I ripped it so that it like ripped the edge and made it all frayed. It looks super cool. And I found this cool font on a shout out to the paper store, first of all, because they had some sick ass paper there. And then I found this cool font called Medici Text on 1001 free fonts or whatever it's called, something like that. And I downloaded that font. I downloaded a bunch of them just to see what it looked like, and I put it on there, and it was all, it looked like the Dead Sea Scrolls, man. It was very cool. So I posted that thing that I wrote, and was just talking about meeting her and how she still takes my breath away and all this. And then I handed that, and I put a cover sheet on it too with the same paper, the same purple flower Dead Sea Scroll paper. And I just I call her Sugar Pie. So it said Ginevra Sugar Pie 30 XXX, XXX for, the Roman numerals for 30. And I gave it to her. And then I was so annoyed because I posted it on Facebook. I didn't think she would see it because I just thought she wasn't going to be looking at her phone. And then she looks at her fucking phone, sees it on Facebook before I hand her this awesome paper. I was very annoyed with myself. I was like, really, dude? Anyway, I gave it to her, and she was all verklempt. It choked her up. She was like, oh my God, I'm verklempt. I'm a little verklempt. And it was cool. And then we drank really expensive wine. Our kids made us a fucking amazing dinner. My youngest son, Wyatt, he's 14, going to be 15 next month. He's super like way into being like, he could probably be a chef. Like he's like way into cooking and like going crazy watching YouTube vids. So him and I watched this YouTube video. We've been making steak, like pan fried steak, which I've never been into steak really. Like I always feel like it turns out too dry or just. He's found this way to make steak that like is the best shit ever. Like you saute it in butter and garlic and oh my God, it's fucking perfect. Anyway, I was telling him that when I went to Europe, one of the first times that I ever had filet mignon over in Europe, the caterers brought in some, what's it called? Peppercorn sauce. And I didn't know what peppercorn sauce was, and I'd never had it. And I was like, what's peppercorn sauce? And they were like, oh, dude, it was funny. We were hanging out with Meshuggah. We just played a festival, and we were all in our dressing room getting super drunk. And I'm hungry, I'm hammered, and they come in and they're like, oh, here's some filet mignon tips and some fucking, it's in Switzerland, so like they got money galore. And And fucking, he's like, he's peppercorn sauce. I'm like, what's that? And he's just like, you don't know what peppercorn sauce? I was like, no. He's like, oh my God. He's like, takes a piece out. He's like, dips it. He's like, just dip it in there and eat it. And I was like, oh my God, just fucking decadent. It's like cream and peppercorn and butter and all of that and little cognac or something. So Wyatt made us we went and got these good ribeye, grass-fed ribeye steaks. He made a handmade peppercorn sauce. Then Xander made blue cheese mashed potatoes, and then we had a blue cheese salad with like point raised blue cheese. It was fucking fancy shit, dude. Some fancy. This shit would have been like $500 in a fucking restaurant. Like it was fucking butter. And then we had like really expensive wine. A bunch of people gave us wine recently that was like super, like fucking $120 bottle of wine. Frank Family Cabernet Sauvignon. It was fucking so good. So we had a good night. And then we were so like kind of so buzzed by the end of the night we didn't even have sex. I was like, it was like 11 o'clock. I'm going to bed. She's like, I'm going to stay up. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was like, so I went to bed and she came in and then like I could feel her kind of like snuggling up to me and I was just like, yeah, I'm asleep. I'm good. So we woke up the next day, had a little afternoon delight the next day. Sky rockets in flight, afternoon delight. Hey everyone, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. If you did not know, Machine Head owns and operates 10 Ton Trading Company, the official merchandise company for the band. We make the designs, we source out all of the materials, get our friends and local businesses to print it all up. It is fulfilled by us. Everything is 100% DIY. So if you're buying from Machine Head, that money is going directly to us. It's not going to some big corporate merchandise company who's taking a gigantic cut of it. No, this is going right to us. And it helps support everything we do and has certainly been, amazing during the pandemic. So for all the people that have been loyal subscribers here on No Fucking Regrets, if you head over to 10tontradingco.com right now and enter the code No Fucking IN Regrets, you'll get 15% off. That's No Fucking Regrets for 15% off of the entire store. So head over there, check it out one more time. No Fucking Regrets for 15% off store-wide. And that's for being a loyal subscriber and listener here to the podcast. Anyway, let's get back to the show. And that was the 21st. And then just the weekend before, we went to, anyway, just to wrap that up though, it was great. It was a good 30th. Like we've gone through a lot. I can tell you, like everybody's like 30 years. That's a long time. It's a fucking long time. She woke up the next day. She's like, 30 years of the same hole. I'm like, yep, 30 years of the same dick. I was like, that's right. It's like Chris Rock says, you got to learn to recycle the pussy. You got to learn to recycle that pussy. But, been a lot of ups and downs. Many times that the D word has been uttered. And, we've managed to, in large part a lot because the kids helped hold us together. There's a couple times when we were really fighting and just not getting along and, Xander crying and like, I don't want you guys to divorce. And, we just, it like stopped. It broke our hearts, like it was just like a fucking knife to the heart. Like, what are we doing? Fucking ashamed of ourselves for fighting so much. And, we vowed to hold it together because of things like that. And, all that, a lot of life led in that time. We both have really dysfunctional families, both have kind of come from like, not broken homes, but, a life less ordinary, certainly. And, both poor and, the baggage that came along with all of our lives. And then, the fact that we managed to somehow hold it together. I don't fucking know, like we love each other and we've always, we make each other laugh. We make each other laugh. And that's a big part of it. She's fucking funny and I make her laugh. So, Oh yeah, pretty amazing though. Pretty big milestone. Pretty huge. And a couple of days before that, we went to Metallica 40th anniversary. So that was the Friday night. And yeah, that was fun, man. I don't know if anybody here, I know a lot of people flew out from all over the world, and there was so many like international people and Europeans and Japanese and Brazilians, and met a bunch of them. I went both days. I went Friday and Sunday. I was talking to Lars on a few days before. We did a happy hour and we paid tribute to Metallica, and they actually shared it on their socials, which was awesome. And yeah, it was just cool, you know. And growing up with Metallica, it was just rad to see them. I mean, fucking 40 years, dude. Like, it gets crazy, you know. Like, Led Zeppelin lasted 10 years. The Beatles lasted 10 years. The original Black Sabbath lineup, 10 years. You know, the fact that they've managed to hold it together for 40 years is just, you know, I mean, they've had a few lineup changes, whatever, but like, fucking incredible. Incredible. And yeah, it was cool. It was the thing that was cool, the thing that's always cool about the 40th the anniversary shows when they do them, you know, it's always a very eclectic set list. They're doing songs off of all the albums. And I think, what did they open with on Friday? Oh, they opened with Hit the Light. So that's what they did. On Friday, they went first album all the way to newest album, like in order, like doing deep cuts off of those. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know about that, but I know on the Sunday they went reverse order. They went from Hardwired all the way back to closing with stuff off of Kill 'Em All. So in order, but doing pretty deep cuts. In fact, on the Friday, I was totally shocked. First Metallica show in decades that I didn't hear Master of Puppets, Enter Sandman. They didn't do God, what was the other big one they didn't do? They didn't do Seek and Destroy. I was like, holy shit, you know, like I thought for sure. And they closed with Hardwired, or they closed with Spit Out the Bone. They closed with that, and I was like, oh fuck. And then I saw the dude come up and start taking James's in-ears out, and I was like, oh my god, it's over. Like, they're not going to do Seek and Destroy or Enter Sandman. You know, very unique. Third song, bro, Trapped Under Ice. Get the fuck out of here. Third song, Trapped Under Ice. They've never played that song. In fact, the only reason they played it in the past was because I badgered James and Lars for the whole time we were on tour with them. You got to play Trapped Under Ice. James is like, that chorus is too high. I don't want to play that chorus. It's too high. I'm like, tune down. Who cares? Just screech it. Who cares? Some fucking riffs, bro. Riffs. Third song, though. And I suggested it to Lars a couple of days before that. Don't know if that had any effect, but I may have influenced the set list. I'm just saying. I was just like, I end my conversation. I was like, bro, and just so it said, Trapped Under Ice, bro. Trapped Under Ice. I'm going to bust out that Ride the Lightning deep cut. Bust that one out. And then they did. It's fucking dope, dude. It was so good. You know, it was a little high. It's a high for Hetfield. I don't care. It was just awesome hearing it. They could butcher that song, and I'd be just stoked to hear it. So, yeah, it's good shit, man. They played Nothing Else Matters, and it was great because on that night we sang it to Genevra. That's kind of like our song. We like that song, so I sang it to her. We were dancing in the aisle, and we got pretty hooched. Luckily, I had Zach driving, so it was pretty awesome. I was just like, all right, I can fucking drink. It was fun. It was after happy hour, so I had already had a couple of beers at happy hour, and you know, we played half the Metallica set. So if you want to go over to the Machine Head YouTube page, the Christmas Spectacular / Metallica tributes up. That just stays up there. It was a good one. It was a banger. Some deep Metallica, No Remorse, bro. We played Hardwired. I love that song. I tell you what, after learning that song, fucking badass song right there. The badass song. Loved it. Yeah, it was fun. And then I went Sunday night. It was cool seeing a bunch. I saw a lot more people on Sunday. We didn't get there. Dude, the traffic to get out to Metallica was fucking horrendous. hour and 40 minutes from the time I left Oakland. Keep in mind, I'm 7 miles from San Francisco when I'm in Oakland. 7 fucking miles. It took us an hour and 40 minutes to get from my studio to the fucking front door of the fucking Chase Center. Fucking Christ. It's brutal. Anyway, though, had a great time, and then hung out with some friends that were in town on Saturday, and then Sunday we went to, and Sunday was awesome too. 2 totally different set lists, which is pretty impressive when you can pull that off, man. Like that's not easy, because you got to save some of the hits and then lose some of the hits. But yeah, what was the big song? Am I Evil was awesome off of for the Sunday. That was killer. Really cool. Hadn't heard that in a while. Such a good song. They do such a great version of it. What else? What was the other big song? Oh, Bleeding Me, dude. They did I love that song off of, I think it's one of the Load or Reload. But that song, Bleeding Me, they did a killer version of it. It was sick. They did some Deep St. Anger cuts. They did opened with Hardwired, which was killer. And then they closed with Seek and Destroy. They did Master of Puppets that night. They did Enter Sandman that night. They did Seek and Destroy that night. So it was dope. Had fun. And then we hung out. I was on the floor. I had floor tickets. They had a little after party. I ended up going to that. But the floor tickets were cool. I hung out the last like half an hour. Jared and I went with my neighbor Steve on Sunday. And Jared actually had to leave. Jared missed a good chunk of it. Jared missed like the last half hour. So then we went on the floor for the last half hour, which was great. And then we hung out, met a bunch of people, took photos with a bunch of fans. There was a bunch of fans down there. It was cool. People from Brazil. The Brazilians were raging. I could see the Brazilians raging. I was in my seats, and I'm looking at the front row of the Brazilians, and they were just going crazy. So shout out to the Brazilians that I met there. You guys were awesome. Awesome. And then they had a little after party, so we went up there. I ran into Jose Mangan there for a minute, said what's up to him. It was tons of people. So many saw Aru, my old guitar player from the Burning Red. Yeah, it was a bunch of great folks hanging out. We all had some beers and talked and had some fun. Saw Julia Bono, Debbie Bono's daughter. Saw Canada Dave. And then, and then we went to the after party. After party was pretty cool. It had some great food. They had these little dumplings. Oh, these dumplings were fucking amazing. Hung out with Doc Coyle there for a minute. And then we kicked it there for a minute. And I hung out with Robert Trujillo for a sec, but I was leaving. He was just coming in, and I was like, I got to go. I'm in the studio. I was in the studio working on the record the next day. I was like, I got to get going. I got to get a little bit of sleep, and got to be there at 11 a.m. and fucking grind, baby. Got to fucking grind. Rise and grind. Anyway, but congratulations. Super proud of the Metallica boys. Massive accomplishment lasting 40 years in the music business. Still incredibly successful. Able to sell out 2 nights at the fucking Chase Center. It's crazy. So good for them. It was awesome. Super proud of them. And, just fantastic. Delivered fantastic. Videos were cool. Like it was good vibe. I mean, it was like an NFL fucking thing. They had these little wristbands that lit up and sequence with the lights and shit. It was cool. Anyway, I just want to say congratulations to the Metallica dudes. Massive accomplishment, pulling off 2 humongous fucking crazy 40th anniversary. San Francisco takeover. They had fucking their kids' bands playing, and fucking they had Ross Halfin photo exposition. It was Metallica everywhere. They had fucking Black and Whiskey taking over bars, and I'm sure it was a fucking gigantic endeavor, and they pulled it off with fucking, like they always do, just fucking champions. So, kudos to them. And I got to give a shout out to my sugar pie for 30 years. I love you forever. And I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys have awesome holidays, awesome New Year's, wherever it is when you're listening to this. Peace out. With Robb Flynn.